You have likely heard someone say, "I'm not really religious, I'm spiritual." Maybe you are the one who said it. It certainly sounds good. People who describe themselves this way are saying that they don't really subscribe to a particular organized religion or church. And there are several reasons for this, and they make sense. They don't want to be cramped by the extreme formalities inherent in most religions. There are many who have tried religion, but it has left them as hollow as before their pursuit. Organized religion has likely not worked out for you, or maybe it let you down in a time of crisis. Also, it is not hard to find problems with the people who frequent houses of worship. They, often like the rest of culture, seem to be equally flawed. Like the sculpture with chipped edges, missing limbs, and permanent stains, are the religious elite who claim superiority but reveal inferiority in their pettiness and hypocrisy. Sounds strange coming from a chaplain, right? Let's unpack that phrase for a moment. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. For starters, you are right about the second half. You and I are definitely spiritual. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 23 reveals that we are in fact tripart beings. That is, we have three-dimensional parts that compose our being. The New Testament writer Paul acknowledges, "May God himself, the God of peace, sanctify you through and through. May your whole spirit, soul, and body be kept blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ." The fact that we have a spirit indicates that we are spiritual. The gospel writer John goes on to say that God is also spirit, but without a body, except when he briefly became a man in Jesus. In John 4:24, the disciple explains God is spirit, and his worshipers must worship him in spirit and in truth. So clearly we are spiritual. It is that spiritual side that was designed to connect with God. It is the physical part of us that seems to get in the way. So what about the religious part of the equation? Well, let's examine that for a moment. What does it mean to be religious? The Oxford Dictionary defines religion as the belief and a worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods. Pretty generic, right? Going back further into the etymology of this word, the Latin religio originally meant reverence or obligation. In that sense, it doesn't necessarily have to be a religion that you have reverence for or an obligation to. We can easily revere athletes or movie stars. We can obligate ourselves to the gym with an annual membership or contractual arrangement with a web design firm. So when we consider this, perhaps we are innately a bit of both religious and spiritual. So what does God think about our little self-description? I'm spiritual but not religious. Well, the word religion only appears 5 times in the New Testament. The most poignant explanation of it comes to us from James, the close half-brother of Jesus himself. In the first chapter of his letter, he outlines God's definition of a useful religion when he writes, "Those who consider themselves religious and yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongue deceive themselves, and their religion is worthless." Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. I think we can resonate with what James is saying, right? What he is teaching is so good. You and I are both sick of impotent religion that is powerless to change people. Many organized religions offer this brand of faith that renders the user unchanged, jaded, and eventually cynical. This is unfortunate because it taints our views of what a legitimate religion should be. This is also dangerous because we become impervious to a religious experience that truly reflects the spiritual and makes a positive difference in our world. James adeptly points out that religion should drive a person to effect positive change for those desperate souls among us. It should compel us to act on behalf of the downtrodden and the destitute. It should also, James explains, keep us from being polluted by the world. polluted in the language of the Bible times is the Greek word asphilos. It simply means free from moral defects, untainted character. This is the kind of religion God promotes for all of us spiritual beings if we are to reflect the heart of God. So looking again, we can see that the phrase, "I'm not religious, I'm spiritual," is not quite accurate. We must remember that it is the spiritual side that animates the religious side of us. Once we align ourselves with faith in something, there is a natural affinity and even reverence for it. If we learn to love the object of our faith, we even obligate ourselves to it to demonstrate our unflinching allegiance. For those who have discovered that Jesus is the way, we religiously and passionately pursue him, that our spirit may flourish. Perhaps we could slightly amend this tired expression to say, "I am religious because I am spiritual." Doing so would be a bit more precise and remind us that we are spiritual beings who are designed to religiously serve God and our fellow man.